Hi guys, we're making dessert today, specifically my Amarena Black Forest pie. It's a recipe that you might have seen me talk about on the social, but I wanted to show you exactly how it's done. It's super simple, there's no baking whatsoever, and it really just uses all simple ingredients except for these super duper special Amarena cherries. They are the best, but we'll talk more about those later. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just making the crust myself. You don't have to make the crust. You can actually just buy it at the store, one of these graham crusts, or preferably the chocolate pie crust, but truth be told, my local grocery store didn't have any more of the chocolate ones. So as you'll read in the recipe, you can just make it yourself. All you do is you get some of these chocolate crumbs or chocolate wafer cookies you can crush up yourself. They're right beside the graham cracker ones, so they're not hard to find. And you mix it with melted butter, and that's it. You just press it into the pie shell. But as you can see, I don't have a pie shell at home. I thought I did, but I don't. Moving troubles. But I do have this 10-inch kind of tart pan, which I actually think might be amazing because the bottom lifts out. So when it's time to serve, it's gonna be actually even easier. But just as a little bit of insurance, because I don't know how this is gonna go, I am brushing it with some of the melted butter that I'm using in the crust. Okay, let's do this. So you just take the melted butter, unsalted butter, preferably, but you know what? I wouldn't be too mad at it if you only had salted butter in your fridge. Add it to the crumbs, and then mix it together. And then we're gonna put it into our tart shell and then press it all the way around. Now, some crust recipes you'll see tell you to add sugar, but I'm not a fan of that because I think, first of all, even if it's graham crumbs, like they already have sugar in them. You don't really need more, and there's no shortage of sweetness in the pie. We're gonna have mini chocolate chips, chopped Amarena cherries. We don't wanna overdo it. I always say sugar is not a flavor. So I use a spatula just to kind of get a bit of an even layer, cover it. But when you want to go up the sides, the best thing to do is to get something flat, like my measuring cup. Let's see how this goes. It just kind of helps you to push it up the edges. Actually, it's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna pop that in the fridge until I get the filling ready, and we'll see what happens. So now we're gonna do the filling. The filling has cream cheese, whipping cream, and a bit of ricotta. But the first thing I wanna do is to get the cream cheese kind of fluffy. And to do that, I just use my electric mixer. And I always add the sugar. I'm using icing sugar in this case because it's finer and it doesn't need to dissolve. So this is just gonna sweeten really well. But you add the sugar to the cream cheese because it creates like this bit of friction that really helps the cream cheese to soften. Only thing is, I'm a little unsure how much sugar I want in this. So I'm actually gonna start with just half of it because I don't like things too sweet. So that's about a 1/4 cup. And then I'll taste it after and kind of see. So you guys are part of the development process with me. Haha. So as I said, in case that was just too loud, I always start mixing on low so that it doesn't fly all over my kitchen and get on my clothes. But then I speed it up once it starts to just collect inside the little beaters. That's when you know it's time to increase the speed and it'll get really fluffy really fast. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, let me check my recipe. What do I do next? Okay, so I get a cup of cold whipping cream. And the nice thing is that you don't have to whip it separately and then fold it in or anything. You can just do everything in one bowl. All right. So again, start a little bit on low. It's probably gonna get a little messy here. I'm gonna pause again and scrape. You You want it to be nice and smooth, and it's really important to do this because what's happening is like the cream starts doing its own thing and taking on air and getting really fluffy and carries the cream cheese along with it. So this is what we're looking for. This thick consistency. So now we're gonna add ricotta cheese. You wanna get the kind that says traditional. It's just like a little bit softer. So we got some ricotta. I'm gonna add the rest of the sugar and then a bit of vanilla. Nice little splash. And then we go on low speed and we mix this in. Just to combine. And now we just gotta stir in the filling. So I want some mini chocolate chips. Important to use the semi-sweet because they have that little bit of bitterness rather than like milk chocolate. It's just a little too, I don't know, a little too kid-like for something like this, I think. And mini because they just spread everywhere. You can also have like whatever really nice chocolate you have in your kitchen, chop it up and put it in there. It doesn't have to be chocolate chips. Use what you like. If you love dark chocolate, you can use that. But I just stir this in. Now we gotta talk about these cherries. These are called Amarena cherries. They come from Bologna in Italy. They're a little bit, I won't say bitter, but they have like this deep flavor, and it's what you get when you go to like a really nice cocktail bar and get a bourbon sour. Yes. And the nice thing about them is that, yes, they're sweet, but they have a little bit of tartness and like just this deep, beautiful flavor. And then I use the syrup to garnish the pie. So I put the chocolate chips in the pie first because I really want those to be everywhere. I want the cherries to be everywhere as well, but I'm also, this little bit of syrup that's on the board, I'm gonna mix that in, and I actually don't want it to combine and make the pie pink. I wanna see if there are any, like a ribbon of the Amarena syrup. And now we stir. See those beautiful ribbons? Oh my God. That'd be really pretty. Let me get my chilled pie crust. And now we're gonna fill it. So the thing with these kinds of no-bake pie crusts is that they are very crumbly. The only way to avoid that is if you actually bake it. So this is perfect for like any kind of make-ahead situation. Obviously great for summer, but really all year round. What I suggest though is, while you're eating the dinner part, pop this in the freezer. So maybe for an hour or whatever, pop in the freezer to firm up even more, depending on how full your fridge is. It may not have gotten as firm. And that way you'll have it like at the perfect consistency. And you can top it with whipped cream, but personally, I think this is more than enough in terms of cream. What I do is I slice it, and then I take this gold syrup right here and I drizzle that over top, maybe a couple extra cherries, maybe a little more chocolate shavings, whatever you like. Ooh, if you even had like, let's say you did this with a DIY chocolate wafer cookie crust, take like a whole chocolate wafer and like stick it on top, like make it look bougie, even though it's nothing. There we go. It's ready for the fridge.